Good morning, everybody. Good morning, online. Yeah, thank you, Michael. That's doing good. That's the pasture in you, getting some crowd participation.
Absolutely.
Awesome. All right. Well, this is just hey, Sarah. Hi, Lori. Well, this is just the pre-kickoff before a much bigger and fun event. We do have the Sacramento EXP rally happening. Doors open at CATA at 10:30, so we'll have you out of here well before then. But before we head over there, let's start off with a tell me something good. What new escrows, pre-approvals, closings? What do you got? I have a list, but I don't. Oh, what? Say your name. Say your name and. Hi, Teresa.
I'm about to close a horrible listing. Family member listing.
Oh, those are the worst.
Just and didn't pay any of the property taxes for the last 11 years, and it's been a nightmare. We've been in contract 3 times, and it's like a trailer on 2.5 acres, but it was built in 1969, so you can't get a home loan on it, and it's not permanently attached to the property. So it's been
a journey.
Really,
congratulations, though. That's closing. That's closing. Awesome. And then you had somebody that you sent over to, I think it's JJ's team, right? Pre-approval. How's that? Like you're getting somebody pre-approved, right?
Oh, no, yeah. She's working on the application.
She's working on the app. There you go.
yeah, thanks for that, guys. I appreciate
Steps in the right direction. Who else? Darcy, what do you got?
I have this buyer. She's lovely. She's going through a divorce, so it's been a process. She's up to 45.
45.
Word.
Good stuff. Good stuff. So real quick. Christina, what do you got?
I have a listing coming up in El Dorado Hills for around $1 million, and then a listing in Rancho Cordova for probably around 380.
Wow, well done. Round of applause for you.
Thanks.
You got both ends of the spectrum there, luxury and affordability.
Yeah.
Where did
Exactly.
you get those leads? How did you get those listings?
I had one of the listings, actually, she is a neighbor of my sister, so that was a referral. But
Nice.
I referred them to an agent in Nevada. So they're closing on that house this week, and then they're going to list their house in Rancho. And then that agent that I listed to in Nevada, her sister is selling her house in El Dorado Hills. So it's been this great little circle of
There you
referrals.
go. That's why it makes sense. That's why it pays to meet people. And what do you got, Lori?
I just sponsored someone.
Yay! Congratulations.
We are working on their houses right now.
Fantastic. Where are they located?
Roseville, right across from In-N-Out.
Oh wow. Okay.
It's 750s, and then Citrus Heights will be shortly under 9.
Wow. Awesome. Congratulations. Want to give a shout out to Misha on our team. I think he's helping set up for the event today. He's got, I believe, I can't remember if he closed one today or not, but last I heard, he had 5 escrows going. Luis has 3. Valerie opened an escrow last night, and I'm out slinging houses. I got 3 listings this week. So, yeah. So the winter does not have to be slow. What do you got?
So we have one coming up in Citrus Heights. It's a 3-bedroom, 2-bath, about 1,400 square feet with a pool. It's getting completely remodeled.
Wow.
It's gonna come on the market for
Nice.
Yeah. That's on Stefano. I have one coming up in Burroughs, we're just waiting for probate. 8121 by Keithley Drive. It's a corner. It's a big. It's gonna need to be redone. That's coming on at $399. I have one coming up in Alberta, Dyke Court. This one's cool. It is a fixer. It needs to be redone, but it's on a huge lot, and there's no back neighbors, so there's street access to the lot to get RV access. RV access in the front on both sides of the property, and it's at the back of a court. So that's going to be a really good one too. That one's coming on for $350. And then I have 2 in Stockton. A condo that's getting remodeled right now. It's going to come on for $210. $210. That one's cute. And then I have another one coming up in Stockton on Pinshot. That's a 2-1. That one's really cute in the historic district.
Yeah.
It's the 1920s. It has a basement, which is unheard of.
It's rare. Yeah.
It's long. So if anybody has any buyers, hit us up.
Absolutely. So 2 questions for you. One, are you on the Brent Gove team page? Like, so you can share this with people on there?
I will.
Okay. All right. Yeah. So connect with somebody, they can help you. They can help make sure you're on that. And then 2, what are you doing to generate so much business? Like, where are all these leads coming from?
These are all
Okay. There you go.
reset. We're trying to do a lot of both.
There you go. That's fun. Exciting stuff. All right. And then the last one, I see one more hand raised. Jennifer.
Hello. I first want to, well, we have several coming up. I didn't know about sharing on Brent's page. Is that on, you mean the Facebook page?
Yeah.
Okay. I don't have all the details in front of me, so I wasn't prepared to share them, but we do have several. I would love to share them coming up. They're mostly in Sacramento. We get properties that are boarded up and have code enforcement issues. We have one in Rio Linda, 2 in Sacramento. The Rio Linda one is it'll be sold as is. We're not even renovating, but the other Sacramento ones, we will be renovating them. I'll have to share more information. I apologize. Gary doesn't have everything listed here, but what I wanted to talk about is I want to welcome back Jacqueline. She is sitting next to Teresa. She was with us before at New Vision, and she went away to try, something else, and realized that the grass is not greener. Family is better. And she's back. I'm so excited.
Awesome. Wonderful.
Both of them. Look at that whole row. All 3 of them.
I know.
Well, Amy wasn't here,
2
but
rows.
Teresa too. They realized that they miss us.
Love it. Yeah. So we'll
So-
do is, there's 2 ways you can do it. You can share it on the Brent Gove team page, and then
Yeah.
EXP now internal. Are we all aware that EXP has this internal platform and you can now share upcoming listings on? So if
No.
you're not on that, yeah, it was announced that shareholders, I would hop on Workplace. I'll see if I can
Okay.
get some information, share it on the page as well.
Oh,
But
that would be great.
if you want to get more exposure to your listings, especially when you're in the living room talking, hey, we have
Yes.
this network of buyers, like it's legal, you can do off market, you can do this coming soon type of a thing, and it's
Yeah.
EXP. So
Yeah.
cool stuff. All right, last question. Partik, exclusive.
Hey, hey, how are you, man?
Doing well.
Yeah, I would like to share. I actually closed 2 homes there for yesterday. It was such a coincidence. They both are right next to each other. And when I first put it into a contract, I didn't even know the second one gonna be there too. So 2 homes, and then I also listed a home recently, and I might gonna list another home today or tomorrow. So
Dude,
the first one,
congratulations.
thank you so much.
Awesome. Thanks for sharing. Yes, you guys, the winter does not have to be slow, and the Fed was kind of nice to us yesterday. They weren't super nice, but they weren't super mean. More on that. JJ, what do you got with our lender update?
Yeah, absolutely.
All right.
Good to see you guys. I'm JJ Mack from American Pacific Mortgage. Always so good to be here. It's fun to have like a little smaller group today.
Yeah.
So welcome. Looking forward to, I hope you guys are looking forward to the rally. So, yeah, the Fed met yesterday and we were kind of expecting things to get worse, but they got better. And so we're thankful for that. They got better by almost 77 basis points yesterday. And today they're looking to be, last time I checked, they're like 30 basis points better. So we're almost 100 basis points better just over the last couple of days. What that means is if a rate yesterday at 7.75% was to have costed a point, now it's going to cost nothing. So the amount of money that we're saving towards that rate is a big deal. So rates have gotten better. So there is another big report coming out tomorrow. It's a jobs report. So we're going to see what that looks like. It could continue to bring things in the right direction. We're hoping, based off what should happen. Jobs shouldn't be getting better right now. They should be getting worse. A lot of these numbers are kind of fudged a little bit. So sometimes it does look like they are getting, worse. And if jobs get worse, that means that rates should get better. So we're hoping that's what happens. We obviously don't want jobs to get worse, but it does help our rates because of inflation. With that being said, I wanted to share a story with you guys. It was really cool. Yesterday, you guys all know Manu. She's So she called me yesterday and she said, "Hey, I really need your help." I said, "Okay, what's going on?" She's like, I need you to come to a listing presentation with me. No problem. So I get in my truck, I drive down to Natomas, I meet Manu at this house. These we walk in and they say, you know what? We want to buy another house. We want to sell our house, but we just aren't comfortable with where these rates are right now. I said, so she starts talking. She's talking about, what they could get for their home. They feel pretty comfortable. Manu did an amazing job. They thought their house was worth like way more money than it actually was worth, but she was able to knock them into their place a little bit, get them back to the road. But at the end of the day, they still didn't want to do it because they just felt like they couldn't qualify with that. So I said, open my computer, I start putting the information in. And at the end of the day, it's just too high. See, I knew it was going to be too high. So we start talking to them. What I want to share with you today is it's important to have a lender with you, or at least on a phone call or something with you, so that we can help them, understand that it's not always the best thing to do to just stay where you are or sell your house and rent, because that's what they would have done. But we were able to talk to them about potentially selling, repurchasing, getting a 2-1 buy down, having Manu help them get something like that. And now, the question that did it, I asked them, I said, what was your payment before you bought this house? When you were renting before you bought this house? It was $1,200 a month. I said, okay, well, your payment is $2,500 a month right now. Did you feel comfortable with that payment initially when you bought this house? I said, no, we didn't. I said, okay, that's exactly the way you're going to feel today. It's our jobs as lenders and real estate agents to help these clients get into homes and make the wise decision to do that. Because if they wouldn't have bought that house 2 years ago, they wouldn't have had that $50,000 or $60,000 in equity that they would have had today. And last 2 years hasn't been super great in the market. So the equity that they've received just in the last 2 years, think about what it would be 2 years from now once they purchase today.
Mm-hmm.
So the point of the matter is, make sure you're linking up with a good lender that you can have there with you if you need it, and have these conversations so that the clients will make the right decisions going forward. That's our duty.
Dude, love that. I've never heard of a lender on a listing appointment before.
Yeah.
You're gonna be booked up on listing appointments, man.
Yeah, man. Bring it on.
You got a nice truck too. We'll just take your truck, use your gas. It'll be great. All right. What's the best phone number for somebody to get a hold of you?
So yeah, you can just reach me at 916-390-2463. Go ahead.
Yeah, I just have a question.
Of course.
Why a 2-1 or a 3-1 and not a 1?
A permanent buy down?
Yeah.
So for this particular, sometimes a permanent buy down is a better option. But for this particular person, they needed their payment to be at a certain point.
Oh,
They didn't feel comfortable. And so the permanent buy down, if you were to put $20,000 for the permanent buy down, the rate's only going to be subtracted by maybe a half, maybe 0.75%, right? At least with this particular loan amount that we were looking at. With a temporary buy down on a 2-1, you're saving 2% interest. So if the rate's at 7.75, your interest rate that first year is 5.75. And here's the thing about that. These clients had a great question. They said, well, what happens in a year at 6.75 if we still can't refinance? I said, okay, we'll look at the market over the last couple of years. You've been able to make X amount of money in your home. You've gained equity. So if you really do feel like you can't qualify for this payment in a year from now, you call Manu and you sell the house, and then you go to rent. That's really what you feel. But my thought is, more than likely, first of all, you're probably going to be able to afford that. And secondly, we're probably going to be able to refinance. There's always a way to make this work. And it's always better to purchase and obviously because you're paying 100%.
Yeah.
Good stuff. Good question too.
Yeah.
All right. Any other questions for JJ?
Thank you guys.
All right. Thank you, JJ. Hey. All right.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon. Yeah. So what we have now is we have a very special guest, Mr. Kevin Kaufman. They're patiently waiting in the wings. He's got like the radio DJ podcaster look going. Mr. Kevin Kaufman, what are you going to be speaking on today?
Yeah, thanks. First of all, thanks for having me. I'm gonna share something with you that I recently shared with a close group of friends. And it is, we're in the proverbial winter time, if you will, of a cycle, and actually coming up on winter itself, literally. But I'm gonna share with you guys the 8 kind of I don't want to call them actions. I'll say habits that we need in order to be able to come out of the other side better off. So these are just going to be a couple observational things, big picture habits and things that great agents and great business owners do in order to survive the winter and come out the other side better off. So are we ready? Is that like we ready to go right now to jump into
Yeah,
that?
we're ready. I got
Is
my
it-
notes, a pen in hand.
Awesome. Well, let's see here. Quick, give me
Your
his
co-host.
co-host. Good. I will likely share my screen, at least part of it. Actually, I'm not. You know what? I'm not going to share it. I don't really don't care for using visuals. I'm going to start introduction. My name is Kevin Kaufman, as you mentioned. First of all, I want to say, I love Brent. I'm here because, of how much I love that guy. He was, I remember Brent hiring me and my business partner probably 13 years ago or so to come up to Roseville, when he was a team leader at Keller Williams Market Center to teach a class. He paid us a fee to do it. He's one of the very first people that ever paid us to speak. And just have been friends ever since. Like anybody that knows Brent knows what I'm talking about. So I just want to acknowledge him for being such an amazing guy and leader, not just in our company, but the industry. He means a whole lot to me. And so that's why I'm here today. So I just want to share that. Again, my name is Kevin Kaufman. So I run a real estate team, or co-owner of a real estate team in Phoenix called the Group 4610 Network. I've got a business partner, Fred, and we primarily service the Phoenix market, though we have had expansion teams in Denver since 2014 and San Luis Obispo, California, not incredibly far away from you guys, and even still an agent in the Nashville area, but primarily focused on Phoenix. I run really more of a 7th level real estate team now. So I want to be really clear that I can give you a ton of information around real estate sales. And I also will acknowledge that it's not like I'm in the trenches these days. I've really been out of production for the last 7 or 8 years, even prior to coming to EXP, and my role has shifted quite a bit. But I think the things that I'm going to share with you today they make sense, or I should say they work, if you will. It doesn't matter what your job is. I don't care if you got licensed today and or yesterday, or you are, you're in your 15th year. Doesn't matter. These are all things I think are more principle based when it comes to owning and running a business, and their observations. And so I just want to share them with you guys. So I'm going to just jump into them. Again, these are the 8 these are the 8 things I think that as we're in this winter time, as things are down. I don't know. By the way, actually, could somebody tell me, this is real life participation moment. When you look at what's going on in your market, number of units sold year to date in the market, not you personally or not your team, but in the market, how are you guys tracking versus say 2 years ago? Does anybody know that data off the top of their head?
Darcy's saying 25% of what it was.
Sure.
Tom's saying a third of what it was 2 years ago. 30%.
30%.
25 to 30. Yeah.
Okay. That's very close to here. I think we're at about 35, maybe 36% right now. And it looks like we're going to be at about another 15%, maybe even as much as 20 more percent next year in the Phoenix market. So when I look at that, we're going to be comparing 21 to say 24. It's going to be cut in half. The number of units will literally be cut in half. The number of units available will be cut in half. And I'm saying that not because it's scary to me. In fact, it's exciting to me because that creates a little bit of chaos. And in my viewpoint, chaos is equal to opportunity. When people are chaotic, they tend to, when they're in a chaotic environment like this market, they tend to act chaotic, and they tend to be even more chaos. Now, I think as realtors, we're all pretty prone to chaos. If you look at our cars and our desks, I know you could say that about me. But the reality is I don't just mean chaos like that. We have the opportunity to, while everyone else, the market's in chaos, most agents are in chaos, we have a chance that if we don't go into that, to like really build something special. It's not usually fun to talk about just sort of surviving or say selling the same number of homes next year as you did this year, or like most of us in this business really like growth, right? And there are some times when growth is actually just not, it's just surviving. Sometimes survival is growth. Sometimes a little tiny bit of growth comes out like and looks like massive growth when things change, when the tide goes back, comes back in. that growth that you have now, or the stability that you have now, will be magnified times 10. And the sad reality is probably nobody on this Zoom, but a lot of your friends that are currently licensed and in the business, they won't be operating in 2 years from today. Like they'll literally be doing a different job. And by the way, that's okay. That happens with cycles, right? And so the things I'm going to share is to make sure that doesn't happen to any of us. And not just that we survive it, but that we do well now in these quote unquote harder times or in this winter, but that also on the other side of it, we experience success like we have never experienced before. So in my opinion, the first habit we've got to have is we have to create and maintain a predictable environment. When I say predictable environment, I mean work. Our work environment has got to be predictable. What that looks like are things like having standards and expectations for every role. So this starts with myself, and it should start for you with you. Now, you may have oversight over other people. There may be support staff that you have, but the standards and expectations start with you. But also, if you have any leadership at all, it's for those folks as well. There should be a cadence to the day. That's also part of a predictable environment. And when I say a cadence to the day, what I mean is like this meeting is, scheduled from 9 to 10. Great. Maybe I don't know for you guys if it's every single Thursday, but let's just say it was every Thursday. Every Thursday from 9 to 10, that's part of the daily cadence, right? Maybe it's from 8 to 9 is lead generation, or maybe it's scripts practice. And then there's an hour of lead gen to new or following up with new leads that might have come in overnight. Maybe there's an hour of reaching out to my sphere or writing my handwritten notes or doing cold calls, whatever. But there's a cadence. There's also a team calendar. Whether you're on the team or you run the team, there's a team calendar that's got meetings and events. Your calendar should also say you should have a calendar, right? And it should line up with whatever that team calendar is. And then so there's always resources and training inside of a predictable environment. So habit number 1 is having a predictable environment. Habit number 2, for not just surviving this winter, but coming out the other side better, is we got to keep score. Like at the end of the day, successful business owners, successful real estate agents, successful entrepreneurs keep score. Now, some of us have this thing with numbers, and I'm going to talk about that in a minute, but keeping score is vital. So that looks like lead activities. So a lead activity versus, say, a lag result is things like lead generation, appointments, agreements. That's probably not new to any of you, but we got to actually be keeping the score on that stuff. And then the lag results. I'll give you an example of keeping score in my business on my real estate team. That looks like how many appointments did we set? Of those appointments that we set, how many did we hold? Like how many people showed up? How many times did we hold an appointment? Because just because you set an appointment doesn't mean you're actually going to have an appointment. How many of those people hired us to represent them, either buy side or sell side? And then how many of them hired us? That's it. Those are my measurements for keeping score. Like at least that's my minimum, because my lag results, like the closings, the commission dollars, the sales volume, that all shows up later, but it doesn't show up unless these other things happen. So my lead activities, I'm keeping score of those. And again, I don't care if you're like me and you're keeping score for a bunch of people or just for your own personal activities. So my activities are included in there, right? Mine look a little bit different than the agents on my team, but even if I was still just meeting with buyers and sellers, it's the same thing, right? I'm always going to keep those lead activities. I got to keep score of it. And because in this business, so I have a friend and a mentor. His name is Russell Shaw. If any of you have ever read the Millionaire Real Estate Agent book, you saw his picture in there. Some of you may know Russell. This guy's a legend. Like he was doing $100 million back in the day before people even knew that that was possible. And I mean, he's a quasi celebrity here in Phoenix, and not just in the real estate community, but in the city, because he's run so many TV and radio ads for so long. But Russell is like, where am I going with this? Russell's all about keeping score, knowing exactly what you're doing, right? That you have got to understand these numbers and you've got to define winning or losing. This is where I was going. Russell said to me one time, he's like, here's the great thing about real estate, Kevin, is when you have a bad day, like it doesn't go well, maybe you make no contacts, you didn't set any appointments. The good news is it doesn't really show up for like 180 days. So it's not like you're going to be hurting tomorrow because you didn't get it done today. The bad news is it doesn't show up for 180 days. We have long sales cycles in real estate is what he's trying to tell me. And unfortunately, what I do today doesn't always give me that instant feedback that I need. So that way I know whether I'm doing something right or wrong. So because of that, we've got to define what winning and losing every day looks like. Does that make sense? So if for like going back to my example of what I'm keeping score of, if I'm trying to figure that out, setting appointments was the first thing that I'm tracking, then I got to know I can define winning by setting an appointment or even holding an appointment. Right? So I don't have to have a closing that day. I don't even have to have an accepted offer that day to know that I won. I had to have worked towards setting an appointment. And by the way, for some people, that might be different. And that might be like a number of phone calls I made, or it could be a number of conversations I had that day, or a number of pop buys I did that day. So we've got to be able to define every single day what winning and losing the day looks like. Because again, like Russell said to me, good news is it doesn't show up for 180 days. The bad news is it doesn't show up for 180 days. And by the way, I think the other part of keeping score here in this habit is visually displaying the score. So whether that's something where you're doing it for yourself, maybe you have like a spreadsheet that's open at all times, or an actual scoreboard, like we've got one in our CRM. Prior to that, we had built one on our own software platform, but having a visual display, I think I like having it for the team, but also for myself. So that way I can see my score. Because again, I need that sort of daily feedback, and this business just doesn't give it to us. It just doesn't give it to us in enough time to make the impact. So that's my second habit. Third habit is I want to actively plan and manage my time. As successful business owners, successful real estate agents, they manage and plan their day, their week, their month, their year. They leverage a calendar to block time. I know you've probably heard time block, time block, time block 1,000 times, but the reason why you've heard it so often and over again is because it's a principle. Like the reality is the most successful people have a schedule. Now, I don't think we should be too tightly scheduled, but the important things, the big rocks, if you will, they've got to be on the calendar, guys. They absolutely have to be, especially in a time like this. If we're not honoring those time blocks, like we're not gonna be one of the people that come out the other side of this winter time. So I get it. There's random unplanned work that occurs for people. You know, sometimes life shows up or whatever. But at the end of the day, we've got a regular schedule and we follow it. And here's a big key to this habit number 3 of planning and actively planning and managing our time. I think anyways, is my schedule is openly shared with others. I have a lot of people that have access to my calendar. Like not only like can they see it, but they can put something on it. It's like my business partner, my executive assistant, a lot of the agents I work with, people from my EXP community have access to my calendar. For me, it's a little bit of an accountability thing, but it's also because I need people to know when I'm available. And there are certain people, again, even in my business where I am today and what I do, I'm holding appointments. And so I need people to be able to get on my calendar to set those appointments. So to me, that's just super important. Actively plan and manage your time. Realizing that random unplanned stuff pops up from time to time, but we've got to mostly honor those time blocks. And then I think openly share our schedule with others. How are we doing? Okay. So far, any questions or ahas or anything you want me to circle back on before I move on to the next habit?
One question I had is on that open calendar. Is it your Google Calendar or do you do that via Calendly or how's that work?
Yeah, actually both the Google and Calendly. So my business partner and my executive assistant both have my Google Calendar, can literally put something on it, but my Calendly also links to that as well. And then there are a few other people in our world that as well that have access to that calendar. So it's actually a combination.
Awesome. And then I just had a quick comment. I almost feel like I almost want to just engage with you. I have so many questions, but quick comment, team. Like when Valor and I first moved here, we didn't have regular schedules, right? The day that I said, screw this, I'm coming in the office every day. I used to sit in 210 before I had my little janitorial closet across from Brent. That's when our income blew up. Is when I started coming in every morning at 8 o'clock. So what he's saying about this isn't just for somebody on the 7th level who has teams and management and staff. This is something for us. Like
This isn't
I cannot
for this-
overemphasize.
This is not for the 7th level. This is how you get to the 7th level. Do you understand that, guys? This is not, oh, he's busy. He's got multiple businesses and people that work for him. So he's got to have this thing. I had this thing when I had nothing, when it was just my business partner and I. And when I say that, literally in a folding card table is the desk. And we were lending each other money to pay bills. My first year in real estate, literally, we were just like check kiting back and forth so we could both pay our bills in 2008 or 2007 and 8 when I first got licensed. So this isn't because I have multiple businesses and I have a staff. This is how I got to that point.
Exactly. Yeah. I just wanted to drill down on that because sometimes that we hear that and it just goes over our heads. But like from what I see on agents on my team and agents I interact with, if they were to change one thing, that would be the first, like that would be the thing I would recommend they change.
Probably 95% of agents who are not reaching their goals, this is the one thing that if they just honored it, even 80% would change their lives drastically. Let me show you how it mostly shows up for you guys, not you here, but our industry in general. Here's how it mostly show up. You know what? I was going to be at that meeting or that class, but then I had a client fly into town. Last minute, I got to show him a house. That's what it sounds like. It's some version of that. Oh, somebody called. I'm not suggesting that a client coming into town or somebody wanting to see a house is not important. I'm just saying it's a very obvious reflection of somebody who does not have a calendar, nor do they respect it. So they let everybody else disrespect it as well. That's the number one thing that if agents did, it would change their lives. But we're so focused on the next check, we can't see past it to actually create a business. And when you can't see past the next check, you can't create a business. All right. This isn't necessarily a time block class, but that was a great point. Thank you for bringing that up.
Thank you.
So number 4, I think we've got to leverage so this is habit number 4. We got to leverage our personal work time. And so again, a little more on calendar, like we've got to have a weekly, in some cases, daily chunks of time blocked exclusively to work on our business, not just in the business, right? So this could look like strategic planning. Maybe it's some review of data. That could be like prepping for a listing appointment, reviewing market data. If you're maybe if you're responsible for other people, this might looking like writing or reviewing information prior to like a one-on-one and kind of planning that out. This could, if you teach classes, this could be like writing material. This could look like a lot of things. And then here's my other one. I added this in 2019. I got to spend 2 days in a room with like 60 entrepreneurs and a guy by the name of Keith Cunningham. He wrote a book called The Road Less Stupid. I would write that down if you like to read books.
Road Less Stupid.
Yeah, it's by far one of my top 2 or 3 favorite business books of all time. The Road Less Stupid. And Keith, the author of that book, coined the term thinking time. It's literally a block of time. It's a formal block of time on my calendar that is set aside for thinking. It starts with like a powerful question and a topic, and there is no electronics involved. There's no computer, there's no cell phone, there's a whiteboard or a piece of paper and a pen. That's it. And it's in my calendar at least once a week. So thinking time. I know it's really hard because like we have a lot of demands, especially in a market like this, where we probably have to make more phone calls and meet with more people to get an escrow than we did 2 years ago or even a year ago. So I know I'm asking for even more, but again, I think this is crucial. I really believe this is so crucial. If we don't have this habit, let me put it this way. If we do create and maintain this habit, what will happen on the other side of this winter time will be magic. Like you will not believe the good that will come out of this. So we've got to be able to leverage our personal work time at a high level. Okay.
Yeah.
All right, let's move on to the next one. Next habit. This is going to be one that people don't want to hear. Some of us don't want to hear. We've got to understand.
Can't wait.
We've got to understand the financials. My friend Dustin, he says we have FOFO. You guys know what FOMO is? Fear of missing out. Well,
Yeah.
FOFO is fear of finding out. Too many of us have FOFO.
Yeah.
And the reality is we have to be real. We've got to find out. Successful business owners not only review their financials, but they understand what they're reviewing. So not only do we have to get over FOFO, but we have to, some of us in this business, especially those of us who are like naturally prone to be like social, some social butterflies that we might know, we'll go, numbers are really are not my thing. But here's the deal. You can say that and you can wear that, but it's only holding you back. Business owners, successful entrepreneurs, great real estate agents understand financials. They read their financials and they understand what they are reading. Okay. And the thing I want to point out when it comes to this is it doesn't even matter the process of it. Like it's the important part is the awareness. And then the other key besides understanding it, having the awareness, I believe is there's got to be more than one set of eyes on those financials.
Yep.
So in my world, this is what that looks like. Obviously my business partner and I have our eyes on it. Our bookkeeper, when we get sent our financials, our coach also gets a copy of our financials. Monthly, we review those with the bookkeeper. And then we also will review them with our coach as well from time to time, especially if there's something that needs to be reviewed. And of course, we're talking about it constantly. And so reviewing those numbers, it's hard, especially when there's not enough on the top line, like a lot of people are experiencing right now. But we got to be real with ourselves. We cannot have FOFO. We got to get over the fear of finding out. We've got to have a process. We've got to create an awareness around our financials and an education. Like at the end of the day, like language, business, excuse me, I'm going to put all of my words in the wrong order. Numbers are the language of business. It's true. And if you can understand a financial statement, you're going to be so much better off for it. Action number 6. This is a favorite one of mine, near and dear to my heart. If this isn't you yet, that's okay. We got to teach nonstop. We should always be teaching. We should never not be teaching. And sometimes that looks like skills, like sales skills, like some of the things that would naturally come to mind, but also like leadership. I mean, listen, nobody models that better than Brent, right? That guy's literally always teaching. I was on the phone with him yesterday and I think he started preaching to me. And the reality is like, because that guy's a natural born teacher and he understands the power in this habit. I started literally teaching short sale classes when I hadn't even been licensed a year yet. And I was teaching basically every other week. I was teaching other agents, some of whom who had sold hundreds and some who had sold thousands of houses already. And here I was teaching them. Now, did I have the right to? Yeah, because I was the guy who was willing to stand in front of the room and talk. So we got to always be teaching leadership, sales skills. Maybe it's investments, maybe it's life skills, maybe it's motivation, whatever your thing is. Teaching for multiple reasons, right? Number one is I think it sharpens our skill. Number two is it allows us to hone our craft, but to give back to others. And by the way, somebody shared, I forget who it was. I apologize for this, but somebody shared about having a new sponsoree in the company when we were doing wins at the first part. Like you want to ever recruit to anything, start teaching. You'll attract people like a magnet. So and teaching could be group, it could be one-on-one or like team development. Like you guys should be presenting to each other. Like there should be like a guest that somebody should be able to speak at every meeting and present something, whatever you're great at. Maybe it's the buyer broker consultation. Maybe it's how to work new builds. Whatever you're great at or want to be great at, start teaching that thing. You got to teach non-stop. It will change your life. It will change the trajectory of your business. I promise you. And in a time like this, especially in the wintertime. People are looking for leaders. Everybody is looking for a leader right now. There, like I said at the beginning, there's more chaos right now than we know what to do with. The chaos is so thick. So if you're willing to go be the person in the front of the room, like teaching, then you're a leader, and people are going to flock to that because they need that right now. We all need that right now. So teaching nonstop is one of the habits. The seventh of the 8 habits is we got to be an executive athlete. And what I mean by that is like, you got to be Tom Brady of real estate. You got to be Tom Brady of business. You got to focus on your health and your energy. And I mean your mental health, your physical health, like your emotional health, your physical energy. We got to commit to personal development and growth more than ever. Like in a time like this, I believe skills are important, right? This is a skill-based market. It's also a mindset-based market because it's so freaking hard. If our mindset isn't where it needs to be, like we're just not going to make it through, even if we have great skills. I've known some agents that were like, you go practice scripts with them, or they're actually in front of somebody, they're lights out, or they're negotiating a contract. They're so good, but their mindset sucked, and it didn't get, because of their mindset, they didn't actually get very many at bats to do the thing that they were great at. And ultimately they paid the price for it. So I think we've got, being an executive athlete is about focusing on mental energy, physical energy, emotional energy, committing to personal development. And you guys have heard this before. So this is not gonna be anything new. I just want to reiterate, you got to be purposeful with your circle. Listen, the reason why something you don't know about me, I hate talking on the phone. I hate it. I hate talking on the phone. I will almost never pick up. Like if you haven't texted me and we haven't agreed to a time and date that we're talking, I bet I pick up the phone less than 1 time out of 20, not exaggerating. But I'll tell you what, because of this next thing, I'm so purposeful with my circle. If Brent Gove calls me, I pick up that damn phone. If Curtis Johnson calls me, I pick up the phone. Because those guys are in my circle, and I'm super aware of whose voice I let come through my ears. Not just who I listen to as a teacher. You know, you've heard that stupid, it's not stupid, but I don't love it. Pick your profit. Like you've heard that term before. It's not only that, but like you got to pick your friends. And I'll give you a real, like, vulnerable example of this. This was so fun for me in a lot of ways, but also was a reminder to me. A couple of weeks ago, I had some good buddies, one who I've known since I was in 2nd grade. And I'm a little bit older than I've been out of high school for more than 2 years. I'll tell you that. So it's been a while. And another buddy I've known since high school. So the reality is I've known one of these guys for almost 30 years, and I've known one of them for like 38 years. And I love these guys. I'd give them the shirt off my back tomorrow. And I hung out with them. They came over. We watched football a couple Sundays ago. It was awesome. And I love those guys. I love them. I would give them whatever they needed if they ever needed something. I also just don't hang out with them every day. Like I haven't seen them in a while, and there's a reason. Not because I don't want to see them. It's just because I'm purposeful about who I do want to be with and whose energy I do want to pour over onto me. You guys know what I'm saying? You ever experienced that?
Mm-hmm.
I love these guys deeply, and I'm purposefully spending time with other people. I'm so passionate about this pick your circle one because it gets over quoted and overused, but you know, you're the average of the 5 people. Well, yeah, you are. It's because it's true. You really are the average of the 5 people you spend the most time with. That's, by the way, the average of the financial average, the health average, the emotional average. Hang out with 4 divorced guys, you're going to probably be the 5th one. All that stuff, right? Doesn't matter what sort of subject we're talking about. Relationships, money, health, spirituality, pick your thing, right? Like that saying gets overused because there's a lot of truth in it. And so I believe in being super purposeful with my circle. It's not something I'm willing to go on. I remember I learned this lesson. It was at a leadership training in 2007. And I visually saw in my mind the circles, the tight circle, the little less tight circle, all the way out to the big one. And I started moving people's names in and out. And by the way, there was people on there I didn't even really know. But I moved them closer because I knew I was going to go hang out with them. There's a guy named, has anybody ever heard of Jesse Itzler? You guys know who he is?
Yep. Coconut water.
Yeah. He's amazing, right? Coconut water, Marquis Jet, he sold that company, and he's married to Sarah Blakely, who's founder of Spanx. So he wrote a book called Living with a Seal. And there's this line that could almost be overlooked very early on in the book, and the seal is David Goggins, also somebody a lot of people have heard of, where he had seen David Goggins at this event that he was at. It was like a race, and he didn't know him, but he was so taken aback by David Goggins that when he got home, he's like, I got to know this guy. And so he literally cold called him and made him his friend. He's like, this is what I do when I want to know someone. I call them and I make them my friend. I'm the same way. If I want someone to be my friend, they're going to become my friend. Like, unless I decide I don't like them very much, I'm going to do whatever I can to provide value to them and become their friend. And that's how purposeful I am with my circle. So I hope you're purposeful with it too.
Good stuff, guys. All right. So I like to wrap this up, Kevin, with just kind of going around the room, guys. He gave us 8 things that we can take away with us. What is one thing that you're going that you gravitated to and that you're going to implement in your lives and in your business? Make more people your friend. There you go. Quality people. Quality people. Susan, what do you got? Actively plan and manage your time. Love it. Darcy?
Be aware of whose voice you let through your ears.
Yes.
That's so good.
And hard to do sometimes, depending on the circle. Ooh, I like that one. Tom, what do you got?
I like FOFO instead of FOMO. And I love awareness. Awareness does half of the heavy lifting. Gavin, you're a beast. Thanks for everything, man.
All right. Anybody else want to share?
I have one.
Amber, what do you got?
But, you said numbers are the language of business.
Yes.
So be more aware of the financials and everything, just even if you don't understand everything, make the effort to understand, be aware.
I'm glad you brought that up. So I'm not selling something. I have nothing to benefit from this, but there are 2 companies I know that specialize in accounting for not only real estate agents, but they actually can have access to the back end of your EXP business. So if you want to learn, if you need help with accounting and you want some assistance with that, it's not free. It does cost something. Reach out to me. One of them is Streamlined Business Solutions, and I think
That's mine. That's mine, by the way. I want to give them a shout out because the owner, Dave Batiglio, first of all, I also disclosure, he was a client of mine in like 2008. That's how I met him. Maybe it was 2009. That's how I met Dave. But I became his client before he even started that business. He actually still had a full-time job. So that's how long he's been doing our number. So I will second Streamlined Business Solutions. They are amazing. Sorry, didn't mean to interrupt you, but I had to throw that in.
No, we got the endorsement right here. It's the Kevin Kaufman giving the endorsement, so it's better than little Johnny. But all right. Anybody else have any takeaways? They're gonna Clark, what do you got?
Time block for thinking. I get so busy with things, just really setting that time on a weekly basis or even daily basis, just to think without computers, without all that kind of stuff. It's on with me.
I don't listen to music in the car anymore. I started listening to books, but I actually read that Cunningham book. It's amazing. And it makes you laugh so hard because he's a Southern guy and he's from the South, like this. But I stopped listening to music and then I was listening to books. I stopped listening to books in the car. We drive so much and you can get so much thinking time while you're driving. And so, yeah, there's no way for me to take notes or anything, but just the thinking deeper about certain things and that time alone about it, it's like fantastic.
I love that you do that. I would encourage you to also if
hold up. Team, what were you gonna say, Kevin?
I love that you do that. I would encourage you as well. I do the same thing. I kind of go back and forth between music and then a podcast or books or whatever. And then especially on longer trips, I tend to just sit in silence. But what I will say is there is a lot of value though in having a more structured thinking time, just like Keith talks about in that book with a pen and pad. and nothing else around. And just because I think you'll get a different thing out of it. I love that you're using the drive time to think. I do the same. And, and I would also encourage the more structured way the way Keith prescribes it.
And not being able to lose, I definitely lose some, so I have to like. About that for sure.
Yeah, so I used to do that. I don't know if this is prescribed in the book, but it gives me an excuse to smoke a cigar. So I'll smoke a cigar and take notes and just think. So there you go. Yeah, I need lots of thinking time then if I'm only smoking a cigar then.
I was wondering who your coach is.
Your coach?
Who your coach is.
My coach is so I've got a couple coaches. My business coach is a gentleman by the name of Glenn Neely. He's actually retired MAPS coach from KW. I've been coaching with him since January of 2011. And then I've got I'll call her a peak performance coach, kind of psychology based, performance coach by the name of Camille Rose Taylor. She's amazing.
Good question. I got a hand over here.
Yeah, I appreciate the keeping score part. Every day you said like the real estate cycle and the big cycle. If you're keeping your everyday score, you can monitor daily and then you can also track. I do some coaching too, it's athletic. And you can keep track of small wins. You don't, a big win isn't sometimes the overall win. Sometimes you stack up little wins along the way. And I'm always preaching, little wins is a win that day. Maybe your battle for the whole year, you're looking for one win, but there's battles every day that you can make a win and see progress off of that.
Awesome.
So a good friend of mine and kind of also has been a coach and a mentor to me. I'll share two things with you on that. He said, is by the name of John Cheplack. He taught me this very early on. Tiny hinges swing big doors. Tiny hinges swing big doors. My other buddy, Chris Bowers, says to me, he didn't just say it to me, he says it every day. He says stack wins. Just find a win and then get your next win. Because if you can stack 2-3 wins on top of each other for the day, what will happen is those wins will add up. And it's a different way of saying tiny hinges swing doors, swing big doors.
100%. All right, team. Well, hey, it was so fun hearing all everything that you got away or took away from Kevin's presentation. Give him a round of applause, will you? We liked it. Dude,
thank you.
Thank you so much for coming out, guys. This will be up on YouTube in the next 48 hours. If you want to review it, get those book recommendations, just listen to it while you're driving if you're not doing your quiet time. Kevin, thank you so much for hopping on. This was last minute. Appreciate you.
My pleasure. Thank you.